First, just the retribution and the revenge fantasies are so transparent and so, on the front burner. What is your reaction to that? And can anything be done?
Well, here's my concern. What is Putin in Russia thinking as he's reading this? What is Xi Jinping thinking in China? I mean, this is putting our troops at risk, this kind of chaos and threatening to hollow out the ranks of the military. And my hope is we have a chairman, Republican chairman, Mike Rogers. We have disagreements, but I respect him. I respect other people like Rob Whitman on the committee. I hope the committee is going to put the national security of this country and the strength of the Department of Defense over politics, because we need to stand up to sort of any kind of chaos that could ensue.
Well, we're hearing that, among the people that the Trump team is targeting is CQ Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He started his term last October. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs usually serve 4-year terms. I mean, it would seem to have implications to oust a sitting chairman of the Joint Chiefs for no particular reason other than you don't like him. And I wonder if you think that House Republicans are going to stand in the way of that, given the general sort of climate among House Republicans as it comes to standing up to Donald Trump.
Alex, I saw your previous segment, and this is going to be a test. And actually, this test goes beyond just confirmations. This goes to the heart of our national security. I mean, this is a bipartisan committee, the Armed Services Committee. We disagree on the levels of spending, but most times we operate in a bipartisan way. I was just with the chairman in Jordan and in Saudi Arabia and Israel. It was very much on American national interests. And I would hope that my colleagues on the other side would see that just firing generals, especially at this point where we need to make sure that Ukraine just doesn't fall to Putin, would be a big mistake. I would hope they would realize that at the time the military is having a challenge recruiting, that sending a signal that you're just going to fire the Joint Chiefs is a mistake. And it's really going to be a test for the Republicans on that committee.
Can I get your thoughts on Pete Hegseth? I mean, he's out there. This is a person with no experience running a massive bureaucracy like the U.S. military. And he's suggesting that, again, CQ Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was a DEI hire. This is what he said. Was he hired because of his skin color or his skill? We'll never know, but always doubt, which on its face seems unfair to CQ. But since he's made the race card one of his biggest calling cards, it doesn't really much matter. I am old enough to remember, Congressman, when the whole gist of this, being an American was putting country before party, and especially for Republicans, and especially when it came to the U.S. military. What is the net effect of having someone who may be the incoming defense secretary saying these explicitly racial and racist things about the sitting chairman of the Joint Chiefs? What does that do to morale among troops?
Well, it's so offensive because even the Republicans on the committee start out by praising the Joint Chiefs' military brilliance, his advice. You can disagree with him, but that is just insulting. And you're insulting the officers. You're insulting so many people who are enlisted. You're insulting people who are working hard to recruit new members into the military. And I mean, I hope that there are colleagues of mine who are going to speak out against that, because in the past, they have always, as you pointed out, put our troops and national security beyond politics. And this is very, very concerning. I'm also concerned. I don't care as much about every detail of his background, but I'm concerned about what that means about his ability to make sure that there's not sexual discrimination in the military. Because as you know, there have been a lot of those issues. And Jackie Spear and others worked in a bipartisan way to try to clean that up. I mean, there are a lot of questions about his leadership, and I hope Republicans will have the courage to speak out.
Does Pete Hegseth have the organizational skills to even carry out a massive purge inside the Pentagon? I mean, is that viable?
I think the reality is that he's just going to be listening to Donald Trump. And certainly I would not underestimate Donald Trump's capability to do that. And the question really becomes, will Congress stand up to the executive branch? In our Federalist Papers, we always thought that Congress would never exceed power to the executive branch because we would have too much pride in our own prerogative. Well, they didn't count on the Republican Party that is afraid of a tweet by Donald Trump. And really, this is going to be a question of whether we're going to stand up to Trump. Whoever he puts at defense is just going to be largely doing his bidding. And there were plenty of Republicans, Mike Gallagher, Mike Rogers, people I've disagreed with, who he could have chosen, who supported him. But he's chosen to pick someone who's really going to do his bidding.
Well, the framers never conceived of a man like Donald Trump, and here we are, terra incognita. Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your perspective on this.
Thank you, Alex.